All right, hello there. Hey, it's Micah Carter here for a minute, and I appreciate you listening in for a moment. Of course, if you happen to listen in, and hopefully, of course, I like the idea that you get some kind of value out of it. But I just talking about this concept, maybe a couple of concepts really, but maybe I try to think of one concept, then all of a sudden other ones come to mind. But one of the main concepts I would say that goes into helping me to have more like success when I'm doing business, like sales, direct selling, especially. And this isn't for everybody. I mean, some people just aren't that kind of mindset. They don't like the idea of selling stuff and all that stuff. And I get that. And I think it comes for, it happens for different reasons. People have that mindset for different reasons. They had a bad experience or they got a certain perspective that gave them a certain idea about sales. But one of the main things that, helped me to get better, more results in sales, and there's a lot of different elements that I would say could go into it. It's a bunch of little subtle things, what it is. It's not like there's only one main thing, but there are some main things that I would say go into the mindset, right? One of the main things that helped me was like what you call speed, right? Saying less to more people. Saying less to more people. Right now, it kind of varies with different businesses. I mean, different kind of sales opportunities. Maybe you have a smaller market for what you do, and you need to use those more sales strategies in terms of the closing skills and presenting skills and stuff like that. I mean, an idiot's probably not going to sell too many jet airplanes if they have no idea what they're talking about, right? At the same time, urgency and enthusiasm is nearly everything, right? A person doesn't necessarily have to know everything about it, especially if they have support, if they have a team, if they have tools available to them, right? Maybe they can create all those tools themselves. Maybe they're partnered with a company or a business partner that's helping them to create tools, like presentation tools, for example, training tools, for example. Right now, probably presentation tools for starters. I mean, when we're selling to sell anything, the idea is that we want someone to hear about a proposal, right? An idea we have that maybe they'll want to work with us on. Even if it's just our customer buying a product from us, they're working with us. They're saying, "Hey, I'm going to invest in your product and even try it. Maybe I'm going to invest in it on a level of like as a company, not just buying the product. Buying the product is one way to invest in your company, right? Or to invest in someone's company, buying their product or service. Obviously, you're giving them some money and taking advantage of some of their product or service, giving them an indicator that there's demand for this service or product, right? But how pushy are you going to be, right? My perspective, it's easy to build a bad reputation if you are pushy or aggressive per se. Now, there's a fine line between pushy or aggressive and persistence, right? Everybody has their own perspective. What I perceive as just simply being persistent or following through or following up, another person might see as too aggressive. Another person might see it as not enough. Hey, you didn't, personally get back with me, stuff like that, right? As far as our prospects, who we're talking to, who we're trying to purvey or convey our value to, whatever it is. But like you said, saying less to more people allowed me to get emotionally detached from the results, if that makes sense. Because in business, I'm sure you'd agree that generally, speaking in business, having a system in place, building a structure is critical. But just taking in general, phase one action, right? Phase one action, meaning we're doing the initial starting part of the process that gets something to happen, because a lot of things are processes, right? Anything's a process. Even the fastest happening thing is it's a process. But a lot of times things take processes that take going back and forth and redundancy, right? Stuff like that, latency, redundancy, and different factors and different processes, right? Like, you can't just bake a cake in an instant. You have to go through a slight process of, mixing this stuff right and all that stuff, right? If you don't follow the process, you don't get the desired result, if that makes sense, right? But if you follow the process, that's important. Following your processes, yes. But like I said, massive exposure comes from saying less to more people. Massive communication, right? Massive communication, right? How many people can you invite to hear about your proposal? How many people could you effectively share it with? How could you effectively share it with more people? Would you broadcast it? Would you, individually make appointments or invitations with people to come out and see what you're talking about, or to take a look, give you permission to send them some information about what you're talking about, or even to just listen to you for a few minutes, or whatever approach it is you're taking, right? But like I said, saying less to more people helped me to get emotionally detached from the results and also to practice more, right? Like I said, if you have a smaller market, another concept is that, even with that small market, you want to build your funnel, right? You want to build your funnel. So saying less to more people is fine, as long as we leave everybody on a good note to the best of our ability. Because we might hit them up again in the future. Maybe we encounter them again in the future in some way. We want it to still be open, right? So we don't want to burn any bridge with anybody to the best of our ability. Obviously, we can only control so much. You could be real nice to someone and they could be like, F you, right? But, bottom line is I'm saying less to more people, trying not to burn any bridge with anybody, being friendly and understanding. Oftentimes the response to my proposal is going to be negative. It's going to be no. And I'm okay with that. Right? Because I don't necessarily need any one person. I'm not trying to coerce any one person. I'm trying to give them a value proposal, something that makes sense to them too, right? They say, okay, I can see how I could take advantage of this, or I could, benefit from this. I will take action on it, right? I will buy the product, the service, partner up with them, that kind of thing. That's what that client is thinking about, right? Why should they do business with you, right? Do they see value in doing business with you, right? So, but, do we want to come across as desperate? How do we come across as less desperate? We say less to more people. We're urgent. We're excited. We're not burning a bridge. There's no hard feelings if they're not open to what we're talking about, because we can find other people type of feel, right? Not to create so much scarcity, but to not necessarily push anybody to do anything, but rather to pull them to want to do something, right? They get excited about what you're doing, right? If you don't get excited or have any kind of passion or reason why you're doing, like even if I'm just making some kind of sale, like if I was just selling cars, if I tell someone I'm kind of working 9 to 5 and I just want to make this one more sale to feed my family or something like that, I mean, don't wrong, you might get a couple of sympathy sales, maybe you get real good at that, or you don't mind that approach or whatever. Or you could get kind of like excited, enthusiastic, and be like really appreciative that they're even letting you share the information with them, and be very respectful, sir, ma'am, and stuff like that, calling them by their last name maybe sometimes, or not necessarily, depends who you're talking to, right? Not necessarily, but you get the idea, is to not burn any bridge, right? To develop receptivity, openness, and even wanting to hear what you're having to share or say with, So the idea is to incite curiosity with saying less to more people. If I sent you such and such, would you check it out? Or do you keep your such and such options open? Or, I had to do 2 more of these today. If I sent you a brief description, would you check it out? Or if I, if you hold on, I'll be right back with my equipment, whatever it is, it subtly gets you right into a proposal situation, right? So just piquing curiosity at first. That way you can say less to more people. You're not trying to railroad everybody. Oh yeah, or trying to keep everybody on the phone, trying to sell them necessarily so much, or convince them so much, right? I mean, you're trying to urge them to take action on a step, right? A simple step, one simple step at a time, right? Maybe if I'm promoting one presentation tool, that's what I'm promoting, and that's the only thing I'm promoting to them. I'm not trying to get them scattered. I want them to hear the value of my proposal to the best of their ability in one shot. So the idea is to get them in front of a complete presentation, for lack of maybe a better word, presentation or demonstration of your proposal, whether it's your product or service, your business opportunity, or whatever it is, right? You want them to hear it out in 30 minutes. Understanding, even after hearing it out, even after they might agree to it, acting like, they're going to do it. Did they take action to actually do it? Well, until they've done that, it's kind of like you can't turn a king into an ace, right? They're not there yet. They're a 9. That's great. A 9's great, but it's not a 10. So you're looking for someone who's ready to go. So we're still going to say less to more people. I'm not going to sit around there him-hawing with someone who is really like a 9, not quite there. They're talking about doing something, talking about taking action, buying your product or service or doing business with you, but they never quite trigger that last step. Well, say less to more people. Right? Say less to more people. Sorry, I have a bird here. But concept there is just not getting emotionally attached. A lot of times our sales, more indirect sales, I'm sure you agree, if you've been in direct sales for any period of time, I'm sure you'd often agree, many people would agree, and maybe I'm wrong, correct me if I'm wrong, leave a comment or something like that, but I'm just saying, hey, if you'd probably agree that many times the sales that we actually get are often from the people that we might have least expected. Maybe it was the person who said they were not interested, but they still let us do our presentation or send them our information or whatever. Then they end up somehow watching it or witnessing it, and all of a sudden they change their mind, or they're asking you a question. It's like a buying sign, and you're thinking, well, you just said you were not interested, right? Now, am I going to paint them in the corner? No, I'm going to act like I didn't ever hear that they were not interested and just carry forward, right? I don't have to paint them into a corner. Oh, well, you just said you were not interested. What happened? Well, obviously that's not the best example, but the idea is to not paint your prospect into a corner, not painting yourself into a corner as well. So, not to be too vague, but leave some things open, leave some things open so that we have a second shot, a third shot. You're not painting yourself into a corner sometimes, if this makes sense. But saying less to more people, right? Not getting emotionally attached to our results. Using the tools and resources we have available to us to create leverage. Right? Because if you want to build a bigger business, you can't do it all yourself, obviously. I'm sure you'd agree, right? Sure, you can make a lot of money doing any kind of home services business. You can make a reasonable amount of money, a few thousand a month or whatever. Even if you have a construction company or something like that. But overall, I'm sure you'd agree, in order to really expand or scale your business, you have to have a team, a leverage. You have to have independent agency out there, independent reps, independent techs, independent training, stuff like that. People out there that leaders, right, in your business, in your organization, if that makes sense. So, you can develop people. You can also find people. Right? You can develop people. You can try to change them. Right? Now, that is going to come with. Some people are going to do that naturally. They're self-starters. They're like, yeah, I want change. Other people are kind of like, yeah, well, maybe I would change. What are you talking about? Well, maybe over time, gradually. Other people are like, I don't want to change anything. Right? What kind of person do you think you're looking for? Probably looking for that person who wants some change now, if that makes sense. So the concept is to take action now. Say less to more people. Say less to more people. What kind of prospecting do you do? Maybe you are out there selling cars and you take some ups, what's called ups. People walk on your lot, they're looking at your inventory, or maybe even having questions. They're thinking about actually buying something, right? No. Am I saying to burn through your prospects and not approach them? Well, yeah, approach them. Just be friendly for the most part. Don't be too aggressive. Try to incite curiosity. Try to incite questions. Create curiosity, questions. Look for receptivity, openness, and willingness. Be the first one to leave the situation as much as possible. Okay, great. If I can help, let me know. Be sure to please, I just, encourage you to please let me know. Right? And if they do ask for help, hey, I want to talk to such and such. Right? And you left them on a good note. You didn't try to overkill with them. You didn't try to lay it on too thick, get too salesy or aggressive. Now, not to say that it's not good to be aggressive in some ways. Be persistent, right? I highly, if you were to get started, how could, use hypotheticals. If such and such was the way you wanted it, or the way they asked about such and such, if the car did come in black, would you want to go ahead and take it home today? If the car had have come in black, would you have gotten started? I was really thinking about this car, but really in black, right? Maybe you're showing them a car, whatever. This is just an example, right? Maybe you're showing them an insurance policy, and they say, well, my last policy had such and such coverage, and whatever. Well, if this one had such and such coverage, would you have gotten it? Right? Maybe a little hypothetical closing. But at the same time, like you said, saying less more people means I'm going to shoot a couple, 2, 3, 4 closes at the most. Be persistent. Yeah, maybe ask multiple times. Yes. Give new information between each ask. Give new information. So there's a new reason to make a new decision, right? A new reason to make a new decision. We need to give our prospects new reasons to make a new decision. Partly, maybe in some cases, just to save face. Maybe they were wanting to do it, but they didn't do it because... maybe they need a reason to be justified to a partner, like a spouse or business partner or something like that. And you bring up this good reason, and they look at their partner. Now they can justify it because you gave them that one more good reason that they didn't think of while you were there, but you gave it to them while you were there. They were able to think it through and decide and take action, right? So always present some new information before asking for the close again, before saying, hey, can I welcome you to the such and such family, right? Always give some new information. Make it clear what they're saying yes to, maybe. Clarify their numbers. Don't be afraid of them. Hey, such and such, this here would be $2,500 down here, and with that, the monthly would be such and such. If the down payment, like if you had to have the down payment today, would the monthly be reasonable? Isolate our objections. So what you're saying is that if the down payment had been more like such and such, and the monthly was right around this amount, you would have gotten started today, but that's the only thing that was the main thing, that's the only thing that was holding you back. You can act like you can't necessarily do it. You're just asking a subtle, committing, isolating question to isolate the objection and ask a hypothetical close. Well, if such and such conditions had met such and such conditions that you were asking about, would you have gotten started today? Use that as a reason you have to consult with your expert. That's a great question. If it had been such and such like that today, I'm in a contest. Give your prospect reasons why you're even asking, besides just making money. Right? I'm in a contest. I'm trying to win this vacation thing this month. I just, kind of a long shot. But if, I had to talk to my manager, maybe if the down payment had been more like such and such, maybe it's a little lower and the terms are more agreeable, whatever, the price is a little bit lower, whatever it is that you think might get a possibility, then make that proposal in a hypothetical format. If there was any way I could get them to do anything that, I don't know about this here, but, maybe I could just throw it by them, and, if there's any way I can get anywhere close to this, you think maybe I could welcome you to the such and such family today? Or maybe, would you like to take it home today? Well, yeah, if you can get your boss to do such and such, and, okay, well, you don't lay it on too thick, call them and just run it by them. Maybe you have a expert, a partner, a boss, if you will. They're not really your boss. They shouldn't be. They should be more like your partner, your coach. Right, maybe. Or your partner. They're helping you to do part of the process. They're helping you learn part of the process. They're training. They're working with you in whatever ways they can. So anyway, these are just a few tips here. Really kind of trying to get back to the one main thing I was talking about. Success, love, speed. That these are things that my mentors teach me that I hear from other mentors. So it's not like, obviously, many people have probably heard of many of these names like Napoleon Hill, Tom Hopkins, Joe Girard, Brian Carruthers, Brian Tracy, right? Eric Worre, and only thousands of others. These are just a few of the ones that I listen to the most. But obviously these are all guys. I don't want anybody to get the idea I'm don't listen to anything else or whatever. But you have to use your best judgment what you like the most. But these are just a few top names. But there's plenty of others. Right? You have to find the coaches that are successful. They have a track record of some kind, at least. They're somewhat serious about what they do. And follow what they're doing. They're coaching, right? Look at their mentors. Who do they mentor or follow, right? Say, hey, well, who do your mentors, or who do you get your trainings from, or who do you look up to for in such and such field, right? Maybe ask them, so you can get even closer to the source. Anyway, that's just my concepts for the day. If you happen to listen to this video, let me know. Micah Carter here, signing out for the moment. Thanks for listening into this video. Look forward to hearing back from you. Keep in touch. Have a great day. Bye-bye.